This week, on Days of Our Mercedes, the Silver Arrows are coming off a pretty disappointing weekend in Belgium, with Lewis Hamilton ending up retiring after the opening lap of the race. The most embarrassing part in that whole thing was that Lewis Hamilton completed less laps in this year's race than he did in last year's scam job at Belgium. But George Russell was able to give Mercedes something to be happy about as Russell continued his act of consistency this season with another top 5. Of course, after the race and during the week, Lewis Hamilton would go on and he would do something rare. The leader of men would go on and take responsibility for his actions. Wait, what? Lewis Hamilton actually taking responsibility for his fuck-ups? Maybe there is hope after all. As Lewis said that he made a mistake and misjudged the gap between him and Alonso. Well, that's a massive understatement. Yeah, he misjudged it alright. Misjudged it enough to go fucking flying through the air. Yeah, 10 out of 10 misjudgment right there. And of course, Hamilton even responded to Alonso's comments of when Alonso called him an idiot. And Hamilton said that it was good that Alonso got it out there in the open and got it off his chest. Said that he got his true feelings out in the open for everybody to know. And Hamilton said now he understands how Alonso feels about him. And Hamilton still plans to not talk to Alonso about it. Because Sir Lewis, leader of men. Of course, for Hamilton, the Silver and the Silver Arrows, their shift changed to Centervolt in the Netherlands. During qualifying, though, Hamilton would have another incident. As during his qualifying run, as he was coming out, a fan would throw a flare stick right at his car. Now, I believe this flare stick was just intended for the Verstappen fans to light it until some douchebag took the stick, ripped it out of their hand, and threw it on the track. The Orange Army responded kindly in this, by getting up on that fan and dragging him straight to security so that he would get kicked out of the building. I said last week the Verstappen fans were going to treat Hamilton real good. That wasn't what I meant. I just meant boo and heckle the shit out of him. Not that. That's not what I meant, man. I just meant boo and heckle the shit out of him. That's all. And make his life a living hell and get under his skin. Because Lewis Hamilton has some pretty thin skin. But Jesus Christ, I didn't mean throw shit at him. God damn, it's at this point where I'm coming to an epiphany. The F1 fans are becoming just as dumb and toxic as NASCAR fans. It is between now NASCAR has some legit competition for the dumbest fan base in all pro sports trophy. As the F1 fans are making a very big case for it. Who will win this trophy? Tune in later this year to find out. In the meantime, though, we end up shifting our attention to the race, to Centervolt for the Dutch GP. Of course, for Hamilton last year, this race was known as a living nightmare for him. As not only did Verstappen beat Hamilton for the win in this race, the Verstappen Orange Army made Hamilton's life a living hell, booing him so hard to where the FIA got fucking pissed over it. And even tried to ban the booing last year, and it failed miserably. And they're trying this again. This won't end poorly at all. And the whole thing about fans saying they want the flare sticks banned, bro, they've been banned since this race last year. And the fans still sneak them in. The fans legit don't give a shit. And the security is giving zero fucks about it. To where FIA just threw their hands up and like, we tried. But anyway, on to the race though. Verstappen, he would end up getting the lead right out of the gate. And he would use the orange smoke from the Orange Army to disappear well ahead of McLaren's sides. Of course, both Ferraris came right on his tail. And then, well, wouldn't you guess it? There are 4 guarantees in life. Death, taxes, access to free porn, and Ferrari always fucking up the pit strategy and pit cycle. Yep, another slow pit stop for Leclerc and Sainz. Puts them both back deep, especially Sainz, as they got Sainz a 13-second pit stop. Good God, Ferrari is fucking trash with this strategy. How the fuck is this team second in the Constructors' Championship and got 4 wins this year? Ferrari can't fucking pitch straight without fucking hitting the toilet rim.
Enough from the clown! Enough from the clown! Enough from the clown! Enough from the clown!
But focusing back to the race though, Verstappen will continue on the lead. The Silver Arrows will take advantage of Ferrari's fuck-ups to end up right behind Verstappen. We will end up having a couple incidents with Yuki Tsunoda retiring and Valtteri Bottas also retiring late in the race, which would force a late race safety car. During this safety car, Verstappen and the field would all pit for fresh softs. While oddly enough, the Silver Arrows would force Hamilton to stay out on old hard tires, with Verstappen on fresh softs for the final restart. Oh boy, it's looking like a repeat of Abu Dhabi 2021 all over again. This time, the FIA doesn't botch the restart procedure. They do it right, have auto lap cars overtake, and wait till they catch the rear end of the field before going back to green. So this time, Hamilton fans can't complain to the FIA about what's about to happen. Because one lap after the restart, Verstappen would pass Hamilton for the lead. And as soon as Verstappen would get the lead, the Orange Army would erupt and the crowd roars. Verstappen would go ahead. And then George Russell would then go right on by Hamilton for second. And at this moment, Hamilton would then go on a massive radio rant and cuss out an entire Mercedes team and accusing him of sabotaging Hamilton, as Hamilton claimed that Mercedes fucked him over out of a win. Nah, Hamilton, you fucked yourself out of a win. You should have fucking pitted with Verstappen. You should have pitted with him. By God, you've learned nothing from Abu Dhabi. You've learned fuck all. And then it gets even worse for Hamilton. Because remember when Ferrari fucked up the pit strategy earlier on? Well, Leclerc came back and was able to get third place. As Leclerc would end up going up to third, but luckily for him, he would not have to deal with Sainz, as Sainz would end up getting a 5-second time penalty. Beep, for an unsafe release on pit lane. Damn, Ferrari just never learned, do they?
Enough from the clown! Enough from the clown! Enough from the clown! Enough from the clown!
But in the meantime, Verstappen, he would go on and easily cruise to the win, and Verstappen wins the Dutch Grand Prix once again, winning in front of his Orange Army, and gets his 10th win of the season, as Supermax continues to reign supreme. So Max Verstappen gets his 10th win in the season and extends his championship lead to 109 points, which is now 4 full races ahead of second in points. So Verstappen can literally take 3 weeks off, and he would still have the championship lead. That's how crazy Verstappen's season has been this year. And keep in mind, he won 10 races last year to win the championship. This year, he's already up to 10 wins already. And we still got 7 races left to go. But yeah, I think it's safe to say Verstappen's chances of going back-to-back this year now go to 9%. Like, there's like next to no chance Verstappen could blow this, right? Darian, please, for the love of God, shut the fuck up for once. We do not need the Darian Gilliam, the BFM jinx over in F1. Please keep that shit in NASCAR. Better yet, just fucking take your phone and shove it up your ass. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. Also in this race though, even though Hamilton was pissed at Mercedes, he still ended up finishing 4th, which was a decent points day. But Mercedes do get some solace though. George Russell would end up getting a 2nd place finish in this race, which ties his career best, with the other 2nd place finish being that scam job race in Belgium last year. So now, George Russell has a real second place finish into his name. And Leclerc rounds out the podium in third. But even though that, Mercedes still gained 3 points on Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship, as the gap between Ferrari and Mercedes for second in the Constructors' title is now 30 points between the two with 7 races left. Mercedes still taking advantage of Ferrari's fuck-ups. Will Ferrari warn what a pit strategy is for their home race next week? Or will Mercedes continue to capitalize on their mistakes? You'll have to tune in later on to find out. While Verstappen and the Orange Army celebrates like the sands in the hourglass, so too are the days of our Mercedes. And next week is going to be a big week for Hamilton next week. Oh what, were you expecting the Death Note this week? No way! Nobody got eliminated this week, not even Hamilton. Hamilton didn't do enough to get eliminated next week. And Mercedes, thanks to Russell's consistency, Mercedes is nowhere near close to being eliminated in the Constructors' Championship. So yeah, nobody is eliminated. First, Hamilton is safe for this week. But next week for Monza, that's a different story.